Welcome, everyone, to the March 24th Township Board of Trustees business meeting. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for additions and deletions to the agenda, I've got an addition first, which would be item number 8, authorization, purchase, and installation fuel tank Grosse toll bridge.
Second.
All in favor to add it to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 8, aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion?
Oh, hold on. So can we make it, do we make other adjustments now? Or are we just approving your motion?
Yeah, do you have, I'm sorry, was there more for adding?
Well, I just would like to take from the consent agenda,
Okay.
number 6,
Number 6.
committee and commission's chairpersons, and move that down to an action item, if we can. And maybe each individual person as an action item as opposed to.
Wait, so you want number 6 going to an action item?
Correct.
You can have that.
Okay.
And
Do we have to vote on that?
We will, yeah.
Bill, yeah, we have to vote for it. He can have it changed, that's fine. And then we will vote as an action item. So then, committee commission chairperson, number 6 then becomes, and we have to follow the line here. So actually that would become, you want it in the action item, Mark, that would be number 9 we have to follow. And that would be, let me write that down real quick, committee.
Well,
chair.
I think Mark wants them broken into individual.
Correct. That's the second caveat to it, if we can.
So you want to read every single one and then vote on it?
If you want me to read it, I will.
I don't want you to read every single one.
Okay. Well, I can.
Well, can I ask you this?
We're agreeing on it as a total, as a whole.
Yeah, we're agreeing. They bring us the chair. I guess here's my point. They bring us the chairperson from each commission, and they recommend it, and then we agree on, unless there's, I guess, an issue on one certain one. But are you having an issue of a chairperson? And
I'm not particularly having, after doing some research, I personally am not having a particular issue with any of the particular members, but some of the members of this board may have, and I think we should have the opportunity to vote on each one individually.
So that means we won't take the recommendation that we've been giving and read each one. Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm clear on this.
Well, we go through each one, so it was 9 different,
There's a bunch.
yeah.
It'd be 21 total if you're gonna do them all separate action items.
There's not 21.
No, 21 action items.
Oh, total, yeah. I mean, if we added in, correct. That's my proposal.
I'd second that.
Well, you can have some. No, you're allowed to have something. You don't need to even vote, Mark.
Okay.
If you want something to go to the from consent agenda to action, item,
Correct.
Mark, you can have that. Why don't we do this? Then when we get to it, we'll deal with it from there, and we'll see what the vote is, or
That's
how we
fine.
can open that up. But no, we don't. That's fine that you seconded, Kevin, but you don't have to.
Thank you.
It automatically goes if he likes it on that. So, Elena, am I correct? That would then be number 9. We're gonna make. Committee commission chairperson. Would that be correct? Committee. Oh, I'm just writing this down. Give me 1 second. Okay. So that would make 9 on the action item. And just one less Kevin, right? You understand that then? Just minus 6 from your list. And we'll go from there. Okay, so let me, without a scorecard here, let me see if we're square on this. So we got that changed. We don't need to vote on it. So I need then a motion to approve the agenda as amended now.
Motion?
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. All right, presentations. We have Donna Jensen from the Trenton Veterans Memorial Library. Donna, if you'd like to come up and make sure that that microphone is on for you, and are you good with
Hello,
that?
can you hear me? There's a green light. I think
Oh,
that's good.
that's
No,
a
you're good.
thing.
Okay,
We
good.
can hear you.
Excellent.
You're good.
My name's Donna Jensen. I live at 21057 West River Road in Grosse, and I am your personal librarian, come from Trenton Library, which is Grosse's home library. So first of all, I just want to remind everyone that your library is in Grosse. Is this working or? Okay, cool. There you go. So the thing I wanted to introduce to everyone.
Give it a
we
little
go. Is
turn.
that better?
Thank you.
Yay. All right, so wanted to introduce to everyone is that we got a grant for about $23,000 for homebound delivery and outreach services. So if somebody is medically bound to their home and cannot come into the library, we have set up, we have volunteer drivers that will be delivering items to the homebound patrons. So if you have any questions about that, or if you know someone who might benefit from this service, please give us a call at the library and we can talk to you about it. We're very excited to be offering this and wanted to make sure that our Grosse residents benefited from that. So the phone number is right there, 676-9777, and just ask for Donna. That was really all I wanted to say to y'all tonight, but I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions for the library because we are here to serve you. Any questions at all for me?
We love the library. My daughter loves it, my mother loves it, so.
I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, thank you. I love my job.
It
Yeah.
is a good thing for us. I've used them quite a few times myself during promotional exams.
Yeah, we
So-
have lots of study space, and we have a meeting room now that's also on the newer side, so that's something that your residents can participate in also for not-for-profit. And we have a lot of downloadable free books and all sorts of things. A brand-new library of things that's full of things that you can borrow.
Go there, but I just bought 20 books of James Patterson when you had the sale.
Oh, that sale was amazing. That
it
was
was.
probably, I've been there for 17 years now, and I think it was the biggest sale, biggest turnout we have ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, I take a few home myself every night. All right, well, if there's aren't any more, yes.
One question,
Uh-huh.
when you had that, one pamphlet up or one piece of paper up, 676-9777, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
All right.
676-9777.
Took it quick, but I got it right. Okay, now that's the library number, correct?
Correct,
To
it
the
is,
desk?
yeah.
To your desk or to your office?
No,
or-
it's not to my office, but I usually answer the phone, so.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure, so you
Yeah,
get
but they know me, so if you ask for Donna, I'll be there for you.
that. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you for your time tonight.
Kevin has
Ask a
something?
question.
Of course.
When does the home delivery start?
So actually, it started this week. So
great.
everyone can start giving us information about people who you think might benefit, because we really want to reach out to them.
And you're able also to download books
Yes,
from the library
right.
onto,
Yeah,
would you tell
you can use almost
seniors how
any
to?
device. Yeah, you can use a phone, you can use a Kindle or an e-reader, you can use a laptop, and you can do both audio and ebooks. You can do TV shows, movies, music, graphic novels, comic strips, all sorts of things. Yeah, you'd be amazed at what your library can give for you today.
Do we have any idea how many islanders use the library over a period of time, or a year? Or?
That's a really interesting question. I just put together all of our stats recently for 2024, and I can forward you a copy of that, and it'll also be available on our website, and it shows you exactly, every month I take those statistics and find out how many people from Grosse checked out items, from Brownstown, Woodhaven, and Trenton, and that's actually something I do on a regular basis. It's very interesting, yeah.
Great,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. And if somebody needs help, they can call in, and can you walk them through the process?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a little difficult for all of us the first time we do it, but then it becomes very easy. Yeah. So, and we're always available to help with that.
Great, thank
Yep.
you so much.
Oh, thank you for your questions.
Thanks.
One more thing, do
Yes.
you, so I know Hoopla, that's one, right?
Yes.
Do you provide them a list of here are the options that you can go, yeah,
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of apps. The biggest app is Libby. That has the largest collection of audiobooks and ebooks. Hoopla is a little bit different collection. They have a lot more indie authors, but they are also audiobooks and ebooks. They also have some TV shows and movies on there, as well as music. And then we have another app that is just movies. We have an app for K through fifth graders, which is an interactive book app where you can listen and tap on words and all sorts of things. And then, let's see, I think there's another one that's just audiobooks. It's called Blackstone Unlimited. So yeah, we have a lot of digital, our digital collection is quite large, yes.
Cool.
Good question.
Okay, great, thank
Yeah,
you.
You're welcome. Oh, it's all free too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For people that are homebound, how do they, if they don't have a library card, how do we do that?
Right, so we are doing what's called an e-card where they can email the information to us and we can get them a card for 3 months. And then someone will get in touch with them to figure out how to get their ID to verify where they live. So they can get a 3-month card immediately emailed back to them so they can get access to those books right away. And then within the 3-month period of time, we'll get the permanent card.
And if somebody wants to go into the library, what do they need to show to get a card?
Yes, so we do have to verify where they live because all of our funding comes from tax base. So we would need a license or a state ID. We also accept escrow papers, rental agreements, lease agreements.
Great, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Doesn't the police department return the books too?
There is, at the police department, there is a drop box that we put out here, and Woodhaven and Brownstown also have that. But yes, that's 24/7 access for you to return your books, yep.
So for folks that are less mobile?
That's right, and that is part of the delivery plan, is that we deliver the books, but they do have to return the books, so they can do that at the police station 24/7, or they can have someone take it back to the library. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you later.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, for those in the audience, there's a new public comment section that we started, just because some of you are new, maybe to a board meeting. Right now, it's time, anybody, any topic at all that anybody needs to talk about, they don't have to wait till the end. They can do it at the beginning. So if there's anybody from the audience that needs to come on up, just come on up, say your name. You get 3 minutes of any topic. All these people and nobody? No, we're good. All right, I want to make sure. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Kevin, the consent agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda 24-106, which consists of the following minutes of the March 10th, 2025 regular meeting.
Oh, do we get a?
No, second.
We need a sec. Hold on, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Minutes of the March 12th, 2025 special meeting. 3, check register dated through March 21st, 2025. Approval to process and distribute payments through April 4th, 2025. And 5, Yo and Yo engagement letter, March 31st, 2025 for the audit. And that's the consent agenda
As amended.
as amended.
Okay, so motion to approve the consent agenda as amended. Need a second, and then we'll vote.
Second.
Okay, everyone, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Action items. First one, approval of 2024-25 amended budgets. Kevin, do you have that one?
Teresa, do you want to?
Teresa can't make a motion.
Do you want to take the, will we discuss the, so what I'm, let's see.
Is there any discussion on this?
Oh, we can, I can just read it. Would you like me to read it? And if we have any questions, I'll
Yeah,
just read it then.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so, for action item number 1, it's motion to amend the 2024-25 budgets as follows. Now, because it's in here, can I get a second first from somebody?
Second.
On that? I'm not gonna go through the entire list of amended issues. I'm gonna give you the history. Adjustments are needed to balance the 24-25 fiscal budget. for the general fund, various special revenue funds, and the enterprise funds in order to provide appropriations for new and unanticipated items and adjust appropriations for actual activity during the year. The detail of the changes by fund are attached. So because the packet had everything in it, I don't believe it's necessary to read every single item that we changed. And this is the amended budget. Any questions from the board?
Can somebody with a paper copy throw it up on the overhead just so it could be seen? Does anybody have a paper copy?
I don't have that with me.
Okay.
I just have this. Okay. Sorry, I don't know what else we can do right now.
Do you have a paper copy you can take up there?
Would you, Teresa, do you have a paper copy for the,
For the audience.
I mean, just for the action item.
It's in the packet, it's in the, okay. It's all in the packet, it's open, it can be opened.
There's some,
no, I was thinking
to throw
for
up on
the,
the screen
so the
is what he
public
was
could see
saying.
it.
Oh,
Is there some back there? I can go get it.
I don't think there's a whole packet back there.
That's all right, let's,
Okay.
Well, the,
no, this, it's not necessary that we put the whole list up is what I'm saying, because it's all to the public. That will be it on the bottom.
so.
Okay.
So do you want me to go over the high points or?
I mean, it's not necessary, we can show the list, whatever you like. This is just to show what we've already done, our amendments. To redo this is, I mean, I think it's redundant, but. Do we have any questions? Is there any questions for Teresa first off, by board members?
Not for me.
So on the first page for the general fund, what I also included, because it was brought up during the public hearing for the upcoming year, is I also showed as a result of closing the escrow fund during the audit for the year ended March 31st of '24, and moving all that activity and recording properly the individual revenue items and expenditure items, and also separating that activity, because a lot of those accounts that were in the escrow fund, it was revenue received for a specific purpose. So in order to keep that information separated and keep track of it, individual assigned fund balance accounts were set up. So the biggest one on there is midway through is for the Kraska Estate donation of $483,000. That was the amount that was still available at the beginning of this current fiscal year. And that's what was the balance that came from the escrow fund. The police department had several state grants in there. The building department had some deposit accounts. Those were all moved to the general fund. So when you look at the amended budget, there were a lot of accounts that had zero for the original budget. That's because that budget was passed before the audit was done. And so this was a result of the audit. Also, we had a sale of land to open space. It was actually back in 2023, but I discovered about a month ago that the transfer of the land actually did happen, but the cash did not get transferred from the open space fund. Looking at the timing, it was, the deed was filed with Wayne County in July of '23, and that's when the retirement of the prior finance director took place, and then there was a gap in the position, and that had not gotten recorded. So in talking with the auditors, because of the dollar value, it was not material, and so we were allowed to record it in this year and not show a prior period adjustment. Also, were reimbursed from the toll bridge proceeds for the due diligence costs regarding the purchase of the toll bridge.
So this lack in payment was nothing nefarious. It was simply just a processing issue, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Teresa, once the budget is approved, we'll have a copy of it on the website, the
Correct,
township
yes.
website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, once I
everything
get
is done.
the amended budget into the system, then I'll run a amended budget report and it'll get posted on the website.
So anybody that would like to look at it, we'll have
Yes.
it up there. Thank you.
That's correct.
Definitely.
Thanks.
When she's done with everything, it goes up. We have to put it up. Okay, any other questions for Teresa?
Just one thing I would like to point out for the block grant fund. We actually had some preliminary expenditures that were required for the upgrades to the pool house. Things have been a lot slower than we anticipated with the Wayne County getting money from HUD. The expenditures are in there with matching revenue. However, if we do not receive the revenue by the end of May, 60 days after our year end, the revenue that I recorded as coming in has to be moved to a deferred inflow, and we will have a deficit in that fund, and we'll have to do a deficit elimination plan. It's only because of a timing issue. It's just a process we have to go through. There's no way to avoid it. That I've already talked to the auditors about that as well. So maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. The recreation director and I, neither one of us think we're going to receive the money by May 31st, but so we'll see what happens.
I'd like to ask a question about that issue. If I'm understanding it, a grant is made, you anticipate it, but there's a deadline, so to speak, of when you should receive the funds, and in these situations, the money isn't there. Has there ever been a case where the default of that money somehow put us halfway through a project, or does HUD come through with the money later, but surely does come? I mean, I can see where a project in process gets held up because the funds to complete it aren't there. I'm not clear on what the consequences of lack of funding mean. If you could elaborate on that, it would help me.
Sure. So the recreation director has followed up with Wayne County numerous times since last fall, since they told him, he had to get all these things done preliminarily, which is what caused these costs to be incurred. But this is part of their action plan for 2024, Wayne County's action plan that they had to file with the federal government. And Grosse Township is listed. Grosse Township's pool house upgrade is specifically listed in that plan. So there's really no doubt in our minds that we will receive the money. It's just it's extremely delayed at this point. We're not going to incur any additional costs at this point until we know that Wayne County has received the funds.
So simply, what you're talking about then are some accounting adjustments that will be brought up to speed when the monies finally get here.
Right. And they're waiting for the Housing and Urban Development to release the funds.
And if I'm understanding that correctly, the monies that are already here are earmarked for that purpose, and they won't be put to any other use.
Correct.
The only problem we might have is inflation bites us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also have.
But
the
our
issue-
total grant is over $600,000 for this project. So, but because of the costs that were already incurred and the project was anticipated to start by now, and it is a reimbursement grant, so we have to submit for reimbursement. We can't do that until the funds are released. So,
Teresa, they're also slashing.
I'm sorry?
Agencies and employees and other things, so isn't it the thought that could take quite a while then? I mean, we don't really.
We don't know.
I don't
We just
think we've
don't know at this
experienced this
point, yeah.
before to even know.
Yeah, I really had no choice but to record the costs in the block grant fund because that's what it's going to be reimbursed by. And so this might just be one of those odd circumstances that may cause a small deficit in that fund. We had the same issue a year ago with our ARPA funds because of the project with the HVAC units for this building. Certain costs were incurred right before the end of the year, but the majority of the project was not done until after year end. And so that resulted in a small deficit in the ARPA fund, and we had to file a deficit elimination plan because of that. And it was just a timing thing because the plan was showing we're recognizing the revenue in the following year. It eliminates the deficit. But it's just the way the state of Michigan has their rules for determining when a deficit fund balance is incurred for a governmental fund. So, yep. Yep. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor of approval of 2024, 2025 amended budgets? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that's number one. Kevin, I think I pulled up number two. Do you want me to take number two again, or do you want to?
I thought you do it because that's your,
That's mine?
yes.
Okay, I'm having trouble pulling this back up. I just had it. Hold on.
I've got it up if you want.
Yeah, I can get it.
Yeah, go ahead. Just, you know what? Because after you read the original
Yep.
and just the top part of the history, it's 123 pages long. We don't have to get into any other changes, and you can end it at that, and we can have any questions that we need. I cannot pull the second one up. Thank
I've
you.
got it.
You or me?
I
You?
can.
Okay,
Go ahead, Margaret.
Motion to approve the township budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year, effective April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026, as presented.
Second.
The budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year is required to be adopted prior to April 1, 2025. At the start of the budget process, budget worksheets were completed by the finance director and all department managers. Individual committee meetings with each department manager were held at the end of February. A study session with the Board of Trustees was held on March 5th, 2025. A draft of the budget has been made available to the public since March 7th, 2025, and a public hearing was held during the regular board meeting on March 10th, 2025. The attached draft budget is the most current budget as of March 13, 2025, which includes the following updates approved by the Board of Trustees at the special meeting on March 12, 2025, subsequent to the public hearing. Do you want me to read through all those?
No, you don't have to, simply because of the changes go down through another 123 pages.
Good with that?
So that's the start with it. Yeah, that would be fine. Okay, are there any questions from the board for Teresa on any of the approval of the budget for 25-26?
I just want to highlight for the police department, the general fund, that their shortfall isn't quite as considerable as we initially thought. It's a shortfall of $153,530. So that gives the general fund an excess revenue. But I wanted to point that out since that seemed to be something that was mentioned often. So it's less than we thought.
Okay, very good. No questions for Teresa. I'll ask for a vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Action item number 4, that would be the fire chief appointment. And Mickey, if you could read that, please.
Hey, so I move based upon a recommendation from the Grosse Fire Commission. The Grosse Township Board approved the hire of Robert Roscoe to the position of fire chief based upon the terms and conditions listed in the attached employment offer letter. Just to mention that last year in November, Chief Camilleri expressed his desire to step back from being fire chief, but continue to be an EMT. After that, we actually advertised internally for the position. We had 3 applicants apply, and we interviewed all 3. And then we recommended Mr. Roscoe on March 12th.
Second?
Hold on,
Yeah, we had,
hold on.
that's all right, we had to get a second before the purpose went in. Have Margaret for the second in the history. Okay. First off, before we vote, I just have, just one thing for Bob, and then if anybody has any questions, for the future chief here. Bob, I'm trying to put you on the spot before we vote, but if you could just give us a little bit, just a quick version of what you feel your vision is of the fire department here in the future, or what you have slated, or what you'd like to see occur, any plans, any proposals, any procedures that you're looking at for the future, and what your vision would be, if you could just let the board know that.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure.
Do you want to raise that, Bob? I know you're taller than everybody here. On the right side, there's a toggle switch on the bottom, right below there, below to the right.
I'm okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You can still do it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You can still go help
Go
him.
help him.
Yeah. We don't want to see you crouched over.
Hidden switch?
Sorry, we got a.
Hidden switch.
That sounds really good.
You don't have to squeal like
Thank
that,
you.
Bob. That's all right. All right, sir. Thank you.
So my future goal for this fire department, if I were to be approved as the fire chief of Grosse, I'd concentrate on 3 key areas. The first one being training and development. We'd start by investing in our fire department, our firefighters, give them the best training and resources, support the response and emergency skills and confidence, our commitment to continuous learning, keep us sharp and ready for whatever lies ahead. Number 2 would be community engagement. A strong fire department is built on trust and collaboration with the people we serve. We will expand our outreach programs, educate our citizens on fire safety, strengthen partnership with local organizations, and enhance emergency preparedness. The third one I'd like to focus on is modernization and growth. As our community evolves and grows, so must our department. We'll explore new technologies, improve on equipment, seek opportunities to expand our capabilities, all while working within our budget and ensuring financial sustainability. Our goal to maximize resources efficiently so we can remain prepared to protect Grosse with the highest level of efficiency and professionalism. Those are my 3 key goals I have moving forward.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Bob. Is there any questions or any? First off, how about this? Let's do this first. Are there any questions for Bob? Is there anything that anybody needs to ask Bob, or?
I have no question for Mr. Roscoe, per se.
No, after we're done with him, then
Okay.
we're going to get to the board.
I think he's going to do a fine job, but
Oh.
I have some other issues.
Okay. Anybody else have anything just for Mr. Roscoe?
Can I ask some questions?
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, for Bob.
So Bob, I don't know if you remember, one of the first times that I got to know you was when we had the thing here at the airport for the planes, trains, and automobiles. And Janelle made me sell airport like t-shirts and stuff and set the table up outside. And I don't know if you remember what you said to me, but you looked at me and you're like, hey, your table's in front of my fire truck. And if the alarm goes off, I'm out of here. Do you remember that?
Were you a trustee at the time?
Bob,
Oh, you know what? I don't think I was.
Bob, wait. No, you plead the fifth. You just
I cannot recall.
invoke your Fifth
There you
Amendment.
go.
Okay, that's it. That's the end
There
of
you
it.
go. That's my only question for you, Bob.
that
Good
was-
answer.
Didn't mean those kind, but that's all right. Good, all right. Is there anything else for Bob? If not, then we'll open it up if anybody has a,
I was going to ask, we had talked about today, the fire commission, or the fire department has a multi-year plan. And going forward, we would like to develop multi-year plans in more detail. Is that something that you would be happy to do?
I'm open to discussion on that. That's all I can say.
And Bob, I actually have that, so I'm gonna be working on updating a little bit. I had it working on it with John, so I'll show you, and we can go from there.
I have just one more before we get get this.
I'd like to get in there too at some point.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
That idea of
I've
forward
talked.
planning, if you have a plan, you plan to succeed. Without one, you plan to fail. And if you have more forward planning, it can have the contribution of others to make it happen and find a way to make it happen. That's worthy of thought, in my opinion.
Okay, knowing, Bob, that if you get this position, you came from being the fire marshal, obviously. So it's my opinion, and of course the board's going to talk about this, but I would like to replace the fire marshal, and I would like to replace it from within. If anybody is interested in that job and going to school and becoming what it takes to be the fire marshal. But my question to you is, between the time where we get somebody in, if we do, and the time that you become the chief, as of possibly, well, it's not till Mr. John there retires, do you have a plan at least that can be covered until someone else gets in that position?
I do have a plan. We have people. You don't have to be a licensed inspector to do some of the stuff that's required by a fire marshal. They can be. Those jobs can be given to anybody on the fire department. As far as housekeeping and stuff like that, we have plenty of people in the office who can pick up the slack until that's. But we're going to make it move very, very quickly. We already have plans. We've had discussions. It shouldn't take long at all to replace that position.
Okay.
And to speak to that, the entire succession plan for the fire department, which I didn't talk about, is the three key factors. But we're going to have a succession plan for the fire department moving forward, a 2, 5, 6, 8 year plan. So in the future, replacing positions throughout the fire department are going to be easier and more transparent, I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right, anybody from the board then wish to make any comments before we get the vote in?
So I sat through, I'm sorry, you want to go?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. I sat through the interviews, and I just want to say the succession plan you just touched on, I think that was a big piece to your interview, and I personally appreciated hearing that, and I thought you did a fabulous job, and I think you work really well with the police department, and I think that's also equally important. So I appreciate that too, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Mark
I'll go next.
had a statement.
Mr. Roscoe, we talked already. You know my position on this. I think you do. I think you do a great job. I like the idea of the succession plan, not only for fire chief, but maybe put one in place for fire marshal as well. I believe, unfortunately, that the fire commission and the board, the majority of the board, is going to fail on the fact that we didn't follow our own policy and procedure with this appointment. If you look at our non-union employee selection under 3.6, we didn't follow our own rules. I'm going to have a tough time supporting this only because of that. That's position number one. Number two, we received a complaint, likely false. And from the little bit of research I've done, it sounds like it's going to be a false complaint. It sounds like it may, I don't want to say any more about that, but bottom line is you may have a complaint yourself against this particular complaint that came in regarding your position. It is my position that we should hold off on this appointment, not based on your ability, but based on some of the stuff that we have not followed on our own, and based on some of the information that has come in that we need to clear up. This is a tough decision for me. I believe you could do a good job from what I know of you. But I think the township itself, and I'm talking about the board of trustees, and I'm talking about the fire commission, has slipped in their duties to do this procedure properly. And we have another procedure coming up regarding this with the police department later on, which has nothing to do with you, but we'll be looking at the same thing at that time. And I think we need to get this squared away now before we have any more issues of this nature. It is my position that we should maybe table this at this point, which I know is not going to go through, until we can clear up some issues that are clouding there, so to speak. And again, this has nothing to do with you or your credibility. I believe you probably do a fine job. This is a procedural issue on our part, and I think we have failed. I'm going to let it go at that.
Okay, I just, before I move on, I just want to say, Mark, thank you. I get that. I respect your opinion on this. We talked about it. I'm going to take first thing first. Chief,
Do we have to keep him up there do we want to?
if you'd like to sit down, Bob, that's fine. Would you like
I don't
to,
want you to feel like you're in front of an inquisition.
I like
I
making you
appreciate
stand there, Bob. I think you should stay.
whatever you like?
That's not what this point of that was, and I apologize.
No, that's not. He understands that.
I'm quite comfortable up here, thank you.
That's fine.
Good.
That's fine, then thank you.
Get used to it,
First
Bob.
thing, Chief Camilleri, myself, and Derek Thiel, the township manager, went through the first issue, or actually the second issue that he brought up, which was this complaint. Chief Camilleri felt comfortable that it was adjudicated. Derek Thiel felt it was comfortable that adjudicated. Then it came to me. I was comfortable with it. Okay, so the issue is, as far as I'm concerned, on that issue, I've put it to rest. Township manager has put it to rest. This, Mark, you have your opinion. I get that. That's fine. It was looked into, and I'm not going to go too much further into it for that. The second issue of the policy, there's an intent that has been used for 58 years with the police department and fire department, and you know my position on this policy and procedure, and I know what the intent was, and I get it. If you read it, we need to talk about it. There's some things we need to change in it, but it doesn't mean that, in my estimation, that going within the fire department or police department for lieutenant or deputy chief violated anything. That's just my opinion, and I'm not the one that makes all the opinions. There's 7 of us up here, so I'm very comfortable moving forward. I'm just addressing the issues, and I apologize to you, Bob. I know you have no problem standing there. It's not what this is about, but thank you for understanding and your patience with us right now. Is there anybody? I know 2 others over here had a comment. Would anybody?
I've got a question.
Well, hold on. Mickey and Jameson first had a comment.
So regarding the complaint, which is in regard to the Grosse Firefighters Association, not the Grosse Firefighters Department, right? The association is a separate entity from the fire department. It's a 501c3. It's also a separate entity from the Grosse Township. We have no standing to investigate, look into it, do anything about it. Not that I think there was any kind of impropriety to begin with. So I think that issue is essentially dead on the water. I also don't, we delayed hiring a police chief for like 18 months because of unsigned mysterious emails, right? And that's exactly what we have here, is an unsigned mysterious email alleging something that may or may not be a concern, and I think it's frivolous. So I don't give it any credence. So I think Mr. Roscoe, Marshall Roscoe, I think you're going to do a fine job. I think the thing to remember is that you're stepping into an organizational leadership role, and it's not just about leading people and conducting incident command, but it's about leading an entire organization, making tough decisions, being fair and impartial. I'm sure you're very capable of that. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't confirm this appointment this evening. So.
Okay, Mickey.
Bill was going to actually go next, and I'll go last if
That's
that's
fine,
okay.
Bill. Go ahead, sir.
My question is that we have here generally a feeling that whatever has happened is put to rest. There's not much standing to the claim. Do we have this documented so that if in some future time something raises its ugly head, we have something we can point to and substantiate what our reasoning was and why we feel it was solid? we have documented our decision?
Oh, we will. We will do that.
I don't think that it will, but if it does, we need to be prepared.
And we are. We've,
I'm just being
been
cautious about
prepared.
this. I'm not saying life's fair,
okay.
but I'm just saying that we need to be prepared in case something happens. And if that's the case, I'm fine.
Okay, Mickey?
Mr. Supervisor, if I may, before Mickey finishes up, I know Ms. Bartlett wants to finish up, and I want to give her that opportunity, but I'd like to say something before she finishes. It's still my belief that law enforcement should investigate an allegation and put it to rest. Because I believe Mr. Roscoe may have a complaint himself at the end of this. That's my belief on that. So this isn't against him. This is actually for him, my thinking and my decision. And I think you would understand that from a law enforcement perspective.
Oh, I understand that, yeah. I don't want to get in deep into it, but I understand it. That's
Correct.
why it was looked into. And
All right.
they're,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Ms. Bartlett, you're up.
go ahead, Mickey.
Mr. Roscoe, here's the bad news. As your liaison, you will be working with me. And I promise you, when it comes to political agendas, to these suspect emails that come out at very suspect timing, I am here to provide you with ground cover. And I think I'm pretty good at it too. And so I am not going to let this night go down with any mark on your record. I read the email. Somebody had sent something to me earlier. It was the same exact wording. It was BS. And I read it. And even if it were true, Bob, you still did nothing wrong. And so I have absolutely no issue with that. I am not giving it any more airtime. Okay? You're a man of integrity, and I will back you up anytime. As far as the policy, that's why John and I usually write language as attorneys. Somebody wrote it that was a lay person that talked about how we go internally and when we go externally. The language was not as tight as it could be. But when something like that happens and you have a long administrative practice, as an attorney, when a client comes to me, I fix the language. I don't change the process, right? If it works, it will continue to work, okay? Setting that aside, because that's no fun. I'm very proud of you. I've seen you work hard firsthand. I have seen where I walked in the fire station for something and you don't stop moving. You're hustling constantly. You're trying to help. You're on top of things. I'm very proud of you and where you are today and how you've been developed. I'm looking forward to the vote tonight. I also want to comment, I know you've had a very difficult time reporting to the chief, but you know, he is what he is. And I do want to thank him for stepping up when we needed an interim fire chief, even though I'm not quite sure he wanted to do it. But stepping up, doubling our workforce and getting it where he needs it to be, right? And just really telling everyone, it all comes down to how hard you work, the calls you go on, and the saves that you make, right? The fires you put out. I also am aware of how many times you guys have gotten thank you cards in the mail or checks for the charity based on saving a life. I also even heard recently this one with Chief where somebody had a young child that had to go to the hospital. And you know when you have a young child, you just freak out, right, at the thought of that. He stayed at the hospital with them for 3 or 4 hours in the middle of the night. I have no doubt that you'll do the same kind of things for Grosse. So I truly appreciate you for that. The last thing I want to say is, I know we have public comment, but Joe, would it be appropriate or permissible for maybe Chief to get up here and say a few words? I think he wanted to make a few comments.
Chief Camilleri, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. John, if you want to come up and say something.
Before you finish this, I would like to.
Comment?
Well, I'd like to support Trustee Mills.
Okay.
And
All right.
First of all, I went to the public hearing where you spoke about your qualifications for the fire chief, the job of fire chief. You spoke, I think, for over almost an hour and a half, and took questions. I thought you were very well prepared. I was impressed by all of the candidates. I'm very glad that you will be the best fire chief, and make a great fire chief is my point. The issue that I'm hearing Trustees Mills talk about is something that's about the process, and that's not about you. The process that we have a process. It's a township policy and procedure. The number is 3.6 if people want to look it up, and it's for non-union employees. And the issue is, we have a process that is defined, and we didn't follow the process as defined. I know Supervisor Porcarelli spoke to that, but we've had a history in the township of having policies, procedures, ordinances, where we pick and choose what parts of it we want to use. And I don't think that is fair to the public and taxpayers. I also think that when I watched I was not able to watch all three candidates, but I watched two candidates that spoke. The information that was provided in the meeting where the candidates spoke was really, really valuable. And I think that, and my neighbors and people I talk to, they really appreciate when they're able to hear who is applying for a job and what their qualifications are, to hear them talk about it. I think all three candidates, again, all the two candidates that I heard, including you, I think you were an excellent choice. But I think that should have been broadcast to the public so the community can see it. That was done when Chief Camilleri was interviewed. I think that we have, as Mr. Porcarelli mentioned, we do have the interviewing coming up for the fire or the police chief, and I think that it's important that these meetings are open, transparent, that the public has an opportunity to hear what value the police, fire, particularly the fire tonight, what value you bring and what they're paying for. I think listening to Chief Camilleri, he is a great salesman for the fire department. I think when I spoke with you today, I think the same thing. And I think that every opportunity that we have to present that to the public is very important. And I would hope that the Fire Commission going forward would be open to more televised meetings. So I'm looking forward to your being the chief. I thank you for everything, and Chief Camilleri, thank you for everything you've done, and all the gentlemen and ladies that are here tonight that save our lives. Thank you very much. So,
Joe, can I get back on this again?
If you say something nice, you can.
Yeah, I want to get to the vote though, but go ahead, Bill. Does this have?
I've listened to two sides of this story. And then I try to look at the future. And I can see merit in both positions. I'm not thinking of anything here that would disqualify this gentleman. But if we aren't consistent with our policies, and if that can be documented, that can be used against us in some other case for some other purpose, where we don't want it to be the case. And if we could bolt together an answer to this situation in a week or two by doing that, either before or after this is approved, I would be more comfortable with that. I'd like the future to have a little more secure documentation, is what I'm saying. I'm not questioning this. If it takes longer than a week or two, who fulfills the position when he's not there? That's also an issue. I think you're a fine man. That isn't my issue. and I'm not sure how hard a determination I should make about this, but I'm hearing this nebulous somebody came out of somewhere. If we don't know who that person is, what ghosts are we going to goose to try and prove that he's going to get us or not? I mean, you've got to have somebody that can be prosecuted, you see? And if we don't know who that person is, nobody's told me a name, and if the word nebulous or whatever.
I mean, you received an email about it, Bill. So if you look
I've
back,
read that a bit. But what's your point?
well, I mean, no one has gone to.
It's a fake email.
Yeah, it's just somebody sending something, right? Like if I throw a paper airplane in your window saying, "Hey, I think your wife murdered my brother," how seriously are you going to take that? You know, it's like
Whomever sent it should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for trying to adjust the course of somebody's livelihood and their job in general. We shouldn't even be, I don't even know why we're still speaking.
Hey, here's what we're gonna do. Hold on, people on the board, hold on, please. Unfortunately, I've got to make this thing move. I get it, we all spoke, we all have our, and I respect everybody's opinion, everybody, that's what America's about. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take a vote. If you feel there's an issue here, you can vote no. If you feel there's not an issue here, then you can vote yes. So what we're gonna do right now, it's the same as calling, it's the same as calling the question, I'm gonna get the vote done. And we're gonna go from there. And I will then speak with Mr. Camilleri, and that's fine, I can do that. So we're gonna get this vote done right now.
I'm going to trust you, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's fine, you can trust me, but we're gonna get the vote done right now. So, action item number 3, that would be the fire chief appointment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We do
All
roll call.
opposed.
We do roll call on this, please.
Bill, you want to?
Aye.
Aye.
well, hold on. If Joe wants to do a roll call vote, he needs to call for it.
Mr. Supervisor,
And then-
can we do a roll call?
That's fine,
vote,
if you
please?
want a roll call vote, we can get this moving. Yes, sir, go ahead. Bill,
Aye.
Mickey,
Aye.
Jameson,
Aye.
Joe, aye. Kevin,
I'm a reluctant no.
okay. Mark?
With a heavy heart, I have to say no.
Okay, so we got 2 no. Margaret?
Aye.
Okay, so did you get that? 5-2. Welcome there, young man, and congratulations. Mr. Camilleri, if you could just come up 1 second. What I would like to say to you in public, and thank you very much for your time as Grosse Fire Chief. Thank you for stepping in at a time that we were looking, obviously, for a new fire chief. I appreciate your help. I appreciate your mentoring. I appreciate what you did. I see, and no offense, gentlemen, ladies, I'm seeing some new faces. I'm sorry I don't get to see all of you. I'm not in the police building anymore. I try to stay out of there. So I appreciate what you've done for the department, but your mentoring, your training, and your vision has helped all of us. Okay, there's 10,810 people on Grosse Hill. Well, there was yesterday. And they appreciate it. So I just want to thank you. Mickey, did you have something now you would like to say?
No, I really appreciate, John, though, the fact that you will continue to work for the fire department, that you'll be a volunteer, but EMS. And so that I know between you and Duncan and the folks on the commission, that we're all here to support Bob and help him be successful. And so it's good to know that you guys will all be there. And for you, I just want to say, just like all the firefighters, you do things, you save lives, you save homes, and you never talk about it. Like, I would have no idea, but every once in a while I hear a thank you note comes in, or a check for $5,000, or somebody saying that they can't believe that their parent or their child almost passed away, or you save somebody in a fire. And so the things that you guys do, it is an honor to sit on your commission, just to be able to work with you guys. And my family is tired of hearing about all of you because I tell them I like you more than my family. Just really proud of you. And John, it's not often that a fire department gets a licensed practicing attorney as fire chief. And so
We didn't hold that against you.
personally, I like attorneys, but the fact that you could look at anything to do with budgets or language or verbiage or contracts, as well as be good with the members. I mean, I've heard so many good things from people, so Bob has big shoes to fill, but, thankfully you'll be there, Duncan will be there, I know Kurt, and the others. Just really proud of you and want to thank you for all you've done.
You're welcome. I want to thank firefighters. I just, if I could elaborate just on the hiring, I'd like to commend the Fire Commission. You have members on there that have been on that commission for 30 years. You have members who've been former township supervisor. You have an industrialist. You have general counsel to Ford Motor Company. You have an attorney, and Mickey, she's a liaison. That commission has so much intellect, conjecture, awareness, and fabric with the Grosse Fire Department. It really is eclipsing on what they know. I looked at the purchase for the aerial that's being replaced from the 90s, and Kurt Corneffel signed it, the purchase agreement. He's on the Fire Commission today. So I commend them. I think they did a very good job. I support hiring an internal candidate. That's emulated in the fact of how fast the fire department turned the bow on what was going on 2 years ago. 15 members, which included myself, pushing 900 calls a year, was unsustainable. I've called it the platinum asset of Grosse Township government, because it is. And to move that bow so fast in just 2 years of doubling the fire department, only increasing the budget $21,000 in the process, 1.4%, to do it so fast was because you had an internal candidate that didn't have to build fabric with the fire department, didn't have to reacclimate themselves with the team that was already there. The team worked very hard, very well, congealed right away, and doubled that fire department in just 2 years. And that is one of the reasons why I support an internal candidate. I did not have to learn Tim Lorraine's proficiency in talking for hours to me. I knew who he was. Ken Gape with his knowledge, Jim Gatt, Miller, all these people did a fabulous job. And so an internal candidate has the potential to pay dividends overnight the day you buy the stock. So I commend the Fire Commission. I support an internal candidate. Unfortunately, we have to make a choice. And I think Bob Roscoe has worked very hard in getting this position. I don't know if there's ever been a chief and a fire marshal that worked so well together. And that was an extreme asset to have. So Bob Roscoe has done a great job. I support the intellect of the commission. And by the way, I have to remember one other person, Duncan Murdoch. He's on the commission. I can't forget him. 25 years as a chief. He was one of my mentors. And so that's all I can say. Have a great, and I want to say thank you to the boards for always supporting the fire department. This board, the past boards, and the boards of decades past. So thank you very much. And without your support, the platinum asset of the fire department is in danger. So always support. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, thank you. Robert, congratulations. Thank you again.
And we will have your swearing in at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really wanted to say my speech before he got up here, for obvious reasons. It's a little chopped up because you had me talk about half of it when we first started. But I just want to say, thank you to the Fire Commission for the recommendation. I want to say thank you to the Township Board for their vote for approval. I do just have a little something I'd like to say here. I just appreciate everybody behind me here who showed up to give me support. My wife, my daughter. It's not an easy journey. I'm not going to take it alone. I have everybody's support behind me, hardworking men and women of Grosse Fire Department who risk their lives every day. They wake up in the middle of the night. I'm honored. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Congrats, Chief.
All right.
Can I ask Greg to take pictures? Not now.
Yeah,
On the way
yeah,
out.
let's, whenever. That's
Can I
fine.
ask him?
Now?
Not to take them now, just to do it when they're not walking. I could have already said it.
Yeah, it could have been done already.
So I was asking him, hey Greg, will you do me a favor and take pictures of them when they're on their way out? Get some good pictures, because they won't let me leave here. Well, some of them
That's
will,
not
but
true.
some of them will.
There's like at
They're
least
like,
3
"Go.
cops in the room.
Go already.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Okay, we're gonna move on to action item number 4. And I'm gonna read this and I'll kind of explain this once we get in it and why it has to be read like this. And then I think you'll understand the. Okay, Grosse Township hereby approves the attached amendment to the agreement of the purchase and sale and joint escrow instructions between the Township of Grosse and the Grosse Bridge Company. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, the history and purpose. As you know that we talked about, part of this was in the NDA, the Non-Disclosure Act that we had to talk about already. That's why it says, as previously discussed, it's about the workers, the 90-day issue, about some of the benefit issue. So we had to hash that over. Our attorney had to change it. I don't want to get into it any more than that due to I'm teetering on the non-disclosure agreement. So all of you had a chance to read it. We went through it before in one of our closed sessions, and this just had to be changed for the closing, which is March 31st. So I'm going to ask now for a vote because I don't think that we need to be talking about this because I don't want to go over the cliff on this NDA. Is that fair? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion carried. All right, thank you for that, and thank you for your understanding. There's just some things that we actually cannot get into. Obviously, this is open to the public, but because this one agreement is, but that's as far as I would like to take it for right now.
Yeah, just that one page is in the book.
It's just the one,
So
yeah, it's just the one paragraph, actually. So, okay, sir, Jameson, do you handle, who's handling?
open space?
Open Space Committee appointment. Who wants to handle that one?
Michelle is the liaison.
I'm sorry, Michelle.
That's okay. My computer just started rebooting. Can I read yours, Jameson?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so I move to appoint Robert Carson to the Greenways Open Space Committee for the term ending March 31, 2028.
I need a second.
Second.
The Greenway Open Space Committee currently has 2 vacancies. Members Ray Geist, Amanda Phillips, and Chairman Bill Stevenson recently interviewed 4 highly qualified candidates, each bringing strong skill sets that would benefit the township. What do we do now?
Discussion?
Discussion.
Any questions? So, is there any questions on this appointment? No questions? Okay, we'll vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Okay, motion carried. You have the next one. Would you like to do the next one? Or
Yeah.
You want me to pull it up? Okay.
I move to appoint Yolanda Brown to the Greenways Open Space Committee for the term ending March 31, 2028.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Again, the committee currently has the 2 vacancies. We recently interviewed the 4 people, and actually, I'm hoping that 2 other people find spots as well. They were all strong candidates.
Okay. If there are no questions, we'll vote on this. Any questions for Mickey? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. We will go to
6, Joe.
DPS. And that was, so the, number 7, Public Services Commission appointment. Do you have the paperwork for that, sir?
Or the paperwork from you.
I don't need any paperwork, man. What you need?
No, that's the one we're on right now.
Okay.
You want me to read it? Or you got
There
it?
you go. Here you go. There's a recommendation.
Recommendation based upon a recommendation by the Grosse DPS Commission, the Grosse Township Board hereby approves the appointment of Lance Schmidtke to the available vacancy on the DPS Commission. The history.
Second.
Thank you. The DPS Commission has 1 vacancy. Applications were recently received with 2 interviews being conducted. Mr. Schmidtke was the recommended candidate by the interview group and the DPS Commission. A copy of his application is attached for those of you that would like to see it as part of the meeting minutes.
Sorry I was so loud. I just got too close to my microphone.
Okay, any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was number 7, action item number 7. I'm sorry, Elena, I think I said 8. But action item number 7, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. I will take the added, which is number 8. Rosedale Township hereby approves the purchase of Corrigan Mechanical Contractors for the supply and installation of a 500-gallon fire guard fuel tank at the Grosse toll bridge. I need a second.
Second?
Thank you. The toll bridge uses the 2 Bobcat utility vehicles for maintenance and escorting overweight vehicles. Utility vehicles use off-road diesel fuel. Grosse Bridge Company used truck-mounted fuel tank to obtain delivery fuel for these vehicles. The township did not receive the truck or the tank in the sale. In order to have the fuel for these vehicles, a tank needs to be purchased provided. Corrigan will fill the tanks as needed, but the purchase of the tanks is ours. Due to the tank type, a lease of the tank is not available. Corrigan services all the township tanks, DPS, airport, etc. So this would be an additional tank added to the agreement with them. The tank will be located at the bridge and locked with restricted access. So the bottom line here, people, is I'm not going to get into the way they used to fuel those up, but we can't do that. And we are getting our own separate tank, and this is a necessity. So there's a quote on there, as you can see, I believe by memory, it was like 16. Let me pull this up, but
It's in the beginning.
yeah,
of the
it's in
packet.
11. I'm sorry, I said 16. It's 11.6 approximately was the quote on that, but it's a needed for the bridge. So any questions for me on that one?
No.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Was there something, Mark?
Said no questions.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Action item number 8. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, very good. Motion carried for purchase and installation of fuel tank at the Grosse toll bridge. Okay, I think that is all we had on that. Now, next item is the bridge, the discussion item. What we,
No, we got to do commissions.
oh,
Chairs.
I missed one.
Number 6 went to number 9.
Number 6 went to 9. Yes, I missed that one. Okay. Who would like to,
Just Do you want to do these all separately, Mark?
Well, here, that's what I have to open
That
it
was
up.
originally the idea, but it's up to the board.
I have to open it up.
So why don't I read the motion with everyone's names in it, and then if any board member wants to discuss
Yeah.
a specific person, we can. So, because that's what we would be doing, right? If we broke
Yeah,
them
that's
all
what
out
we'll be doing, but
anyway.
we're not gonna follow procedure
That's
anyway,
exactly.
so it doesn't matter.
That's exactly.
I mean, this isn't a specific procedure, Mark. This is just legislative rules.
I got you.
If we break them all out, right, we separate these into 13 separate people, and you want to discuss, Tommy from East River, then you discuss Tommy from East
Jameson,
River,
I'm
right?
good with however you want to present it.
Okay.
Present it.
So I move that this board appoint for FY 25 and 26 the following personnel to the following commissions. Ron Moran as chairperson of Brownfield Authority Airport Commerce Park Commission and Downtown Development Authority. William Kostick as chairperson of Public Services Commission. Bill Stevenson as chairperson of Greenways and Open Space Committee. Scott Longton as chairperson of the Police Commission. Chad Novak as chairperson of the Community Recreation Commission. Duncan Murdoch as the chairperson to the Board of Review. John Swikert to the chairperson of the Planning Commission. Kurt Kobolak to the chairperson of the Fire Commission. Anthony Kraus to the Construction Board of Appeals chairperson position. Michael Pemberton to the chairperson of the Airport Advisory Commission. Brian Pollock to the chairperson of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. Peter Klunder to the chairperson of the Municipal Ordinance Violation Bureau. And Charles Wojno as chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, also, because this was written this way, let's just have somebody put a second in right now. We needed that.
Second.
What, the issue I thought was, what if we don't want to vote for one of these people to be chairperson?
We're gonna talk about that. If there's an individual.
If that's the case, we can amend it, remove them to a separate item.
Yeah, and I also have to make a comment about this. A gentleman from the Construction Board of Appeals, and we'll deal with this tomorrow, has resigned as of today. So I found that out, recently. He just resigned. So that would be number 9, his resignation. So we will deal with that at a later time, but that just came to me. So
So that's the chair?
yes, that would be the chair has resigned as of today. All right. So
Mickey seconded it.
yeah, have Mickey second it.
So just as, to go over the procedure, right? So we could do these as 13 separate action items, but we have posted in our meeting minutes that we are going to be discussing committee and commission chairpersons for or voting on committee and commission chairpersons for FY 25 and 26. So we can amend this and remove anybody from this we would like and do it as separate action items. But there's no point in doing so if everybody's also just going to be like, yeah, after the discussion, we all think they're great and we're not going to have any issues with it. So
we have to handle this like anything else, though. Let's just say Joe Porcelli doesn't like the chair of the, whatever commission, and 6 of you do. So I'm going to state my case, and if you convince us while we vote, then we can vote the individual. But if you'd like to vote each, I'd like to hear from you first before we change the procedure on this.
What about the one that's stepping down? Do you have to do anything for
No, we're going to then get a chair from that position, and then we're going to recommend it to the township, and then we're going to vote on it at another meeting.
Okay.
Since it was
Jo-
done
Joe,
recently.
Joe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why don't we suggest that we put a motion together to approve everyone, and if anybody has a name they don't like because of what we've read off, we can deal with it.
Bill, that's exactly what I'm doing, but I'm letting them discuss their opinion first, and then we'll vote. Because we're voting on the group here. We're going to vote on the entire group, but I want to hear from any individual who believes one of these individuals are either not qualified or there's a reason they believe they should not be the chair. So that's exactly what I'm doing
Maybe I'm in a hurry, Joe.
in a different way. You're what?
I said, maybe I'm in a hurry.
You're in a hurry. I think that's it, but I'm trying to just make it run smooth for the request that was given. So is there anyone on the board that has any question of any individual that would be a proper chair for a position.
I do have a question. What does the policy and procedure say that we're to do?
Well, what we do each year.
Vote no.
Oh.
Are we supposed to vote on each candidate, or?
I have never seen a specific policy to state we
Yeah, I don't
vote on
think there
each.
is.
What we do is we get the recommendation
We don't have to.
from it.
There is no specific policy stating that we have to vote on chairperson separately or together.
What we do is every year, what has happened though in the past is we get the recommendations from the commissions and they vote on the individual, whoever they feel is going to be the chairperson for that year. They bring it to actually Margie. Margie puts together in this group, and because the recommendations came from them, then we can still talk about it and whatever you feel. But it comes to us in a 13 individual group because the recommendations have been given to us in that manner. Because they're the chair, not the individual people.
I mean, you could structure this however you wanted to,
So-
but
We can talk about it if
Well,
there's
one of
any.
these chairs we didn't even know existed. You even said you didn't know it existed. The the municipal,
Construction Board of
yeah,
Appeals.
no, not the construction. It was
Oh.
the.
Municipal ordinance.
Oh, you're talking about
violations.
the municipal ordinance violation?
Yeah.
I remember
You told me
when
I
it
could be
was
the
made.
liaison because they don't have a liaison. I mean,
What do you want me to do then? So I have.
I'm just saying some of the stuff we don't have any idea who these people are and what they even do.
I do know who Pete Klunder is, and I'm very happy he's the chairperson and a very responsible individual for that commission. That's
Well,
my answer to that one.
But you told me a few weeks ago, or a week ago, you didn't know who had this commission.
What does that?
Maybe
does that have? When I read this, though, Mark, I read the packet, and the packet says who the chairperson is. I personally know who this individual is, and I
Okay.
think he's a wonderful gentleman.
Oh, that's
So,
because I don't know him. That's fine.
What
That's
is
fine.
me not knowing and forgetting that we had a municipal ordinance violation we've never used in 5 years?
What does it do?
Well, I'm just saying to you. So I think we're getting into the minutia
Yeah, we
that
are.
we don't
We
need
are.
to.
We are. You know, let's go. Bring it to a vote. Let's just get it
Okay.
over
Is there anybody that has any
hold
problem?
on. Now, we pulled this out of the consent agenda because people wanted to discuss it.
I'm going to give you a chance.
So we shouldn't just vote on it, we should discuss it.
Yeah, is there anybody on this board who feels an individual is not qualified or should be the chair, and this is how you wanted it, so this is what we're going to do? Does anybody would like to come forward and state their case? All right, then. With none, then I'm going to put it to a vote that 13 individuals, chair people, to adopt for the upcoming year as commission chair people. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Okay, motion carried. Okay, good, very good.
If you didn't vote, you have to state that you voted in absentia. Or, I mean, you have to note that you did not vote.
I think we got a.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a 7-0.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now let's get back to where we're at here. If I have things correct, the Bridge Commission is next. Now, I hope all of you got to your outline. And there was a couple things that we talked about in the outline. We had a special meeting on it. And a couple things that were raised were the items. Number one, I raised that I believe the township manager should be working with the commission itself in reviewing the operations of Toll Bridge, just as he is. He's with the commission for the DPS for the sewer treatment plant, and believed since that was it was running excellent how that works. I'd like to have seen that way, so we did talk about that. That was one of the things we put in. The other thing that we put in is we went to a 7-member commission, but the 7 members are as following, just so you know. We had 1 township supervisor, 1 board member, and then we had a contracted licensed professional civil engineer, the township's finance director in there that we thought was very important, and then 3 township residents. I remember one of the gentlemen said he'd like to see 7 members. Well, there's going to be a total of 7 now, and that's what, as if you looked at that, and read through that before tonight, you saw that that's what we talked about at that one meeting.
Can I come in on that part only?
Yeah.
Right, so
Sure.
we have 7 members, but 3 of the township residents at large are gonna have to fill the president, vice president, and secretary. So I thought the question was, I think it was brought up by Mr. Bilecki through an email, that we have a 9-person board, 2 non-voting members and 7 voting members, so we have more people from the actual public on there, so they don't have to hold a chair position or a vice chair or treasurer spot, or I'm sorry, secretary spot if they didn't want to. That's why I thought we talked about that towards the end of the last meeting we had on this particular subject.
So farther down, it says the officers of the commission.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't,
says that board members
Board
can
member.
serve as those commission officer roles. So I think that is covering, if I'm hearing you correctly, you'd have to tell me what you're talking about, Mark.
So on other boards, a township trustee cannot hold a chair position, cannot hold a vice chair position, cannot hold a secretary position.
it's right here, Ken.
So, pardon me?
Kristen stated that keeping minutes for commission meetings shall be responsible to the secretary. Members of the board who serve on the commission can fulfill the aforementioned commission official roles, officer roles rather, and that's straight from our attorney.
Okay.
So the specific guidance in this ordinance supersedes the less specific guidance in the overall commission system. So in the overall verbiage of the commission system, it states board liaisons will not serve in officer roles, but in this particular commission, they can.
Correct. And that is straight from our municipal attorney.
And I'm not gonna disagree with her, but I think to keep it in accordance with the rest of our commissions, I think we should follow the same standard.
Well, I think a 9-person board, I'm on one, and
So-
it's a lot of people.
But you're not gonna have
and a lot
9
of-
voting members, right? 2 of those are gonna be appointed.
You're going to have
just as-
5 voting members, correct?
Correct.
Mark?
You're not gonna have 9, exactly. So the other, no, 7, 8, 9.
You're going to have 2 township officials that are
No, we were
voting
talking-
members.
No, he was talking about if we have 2 more citizens, if
Right,
I'm
you're
not
talking about
correct.
5 citizens total.
Correct.
I know,
Right.
yes.
So it's gonna be a 5-member board and 2 people for advisory. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, more or less.
Yes, that's,
Okay.
yes.
So the advisory positions are not voting positions. They're just to advise.
Correct. The advisory positions cannot vote.
So we're gonna have 2 board members, supervisor and whomever, correct? And then
Correct.
3. But we're still putting the position of those 3 members. Well, I guess I take that back because you already said the township's okay. But to be consistent with the rest of our commissions, we can't do that. Now, if you guys want to follow consistency, that's fine.
It's not about consistency, it's about
well-
what's best for a board that runs a toll bridge. And we have 5 people of voting members, and we have 3 from the public on this commission. And I'm asking you, this is a discussion item.
Right.
You know, how you feel about it, and we can talk about it. Again, not saying I'm ending this, Mark, by any means. I'm just saying.
I understand.
This is not a vote tonight. This
I
is just a
understand.
discussion. But this is how Kristen set this up and thought it is in the best interest of Grosse Township for this type of commission.
Can I?
Sure.
It is my
James.
position that we should follow the same format we do with the other commissions.
And
I'll just let it go
is,
with that.
okay, just before we go, Jameson, I want to take some notes, Mark. Tell me what that format means then. 5
I
individuals?
will use the ZBA as an example since I'm on that particular commission, right?
Okay.
We have a liaison, which is me at this point, and we have 6 other members.
Okay.
Now, those 6 other members can go ahead and run for the president, chair, vice chair,
Okay.
secretary. I think we should follow that same type of format.
Okay, so like the police commission has 4 individuals on it and 1 liaison from the board. So which format do you want?
We should have a format to where 3 citizens from the public don't have to take a position. I know you've already said that, but I don't believe a board member should be a chair or vice chair or a secretary. They should be the liaison. So we're going to have basically 2 liaisons on this particular board. plus 2 people who are going to, the engineer and the, who's the other one?
Finance director.
The finance
Finance
director.
director's
So
on it.
Or it
who
could be
is
advisory.
advisory? Who's going to choose the second person on
So
the
the
board?
township supervisor determines liaison positions.
So if you had a township supervisor, could pick somebody that was always a yes vote with them, not that that would ever happen.
But that's the way with all the commissions.
you're
So if
correct.
you want to change that, you
Correct.
Well, what I was thinking is maybe maybe it should be the clerk, maybe it should be a treasurer, maybe that,
Well, I will speak to all of you to see what your feelings are.
Okay.
In being a part of this. I'm not, just as I did, if you recall, when I put liaisons on the police commission, I did try to get everyone's input and go from there and see what I thought would be best for.
I'm not speaking about you, I'm speaking about some,
Oh, the next guy coming in?
if there ever is another supervisor.
well, we can't litigate
Beside you.
against a future board because they can always change whatever we do, no matter what.
Well, we can show what we think is most useful.
Well, I'm just gonna let you know, I'm gonna speak to you on this board. That's the way I do things for liaison positions, but I understand what you're saying, Kevin. I do understand what you're saying. If somebody in the future came in and ran a dictatorship with a second in charge,
Yes,
yeah, I mean, that's,
But it still comes back to the board to vote on things, right?
Right.
To the full
Right.
board, so you
Right.
can have
Right.
somebody voting yes all the
Okay.
time, but it won't make a difference.
okay, then we'll,
So I think that the structure of this, it ended up this way for a specific reason, because it is less orthodox than our other boards. And it ended up this way because this board expressed that the Toll Bridge Commission must have financial and engineering expertise on it. So how do we guarantee that? We pay people to do it. However, we can't have paid people become people who are subservient to the township pay-wise be voting members of this board, right? So we hedged in the finance director and the engineering individual, right? And we wanted to keep it at 7 members because that's a board that's big enough that you have public input and debate and discourse. You know, it's just like this board, 7 members. But not so big that it gets bogged down in all kinds of silliness, you know, and we know boards that get really big and they get a lot less done, right? So I think this is still agile and it has the individuals on it needs to have. Now, I guess we could add some more people, but I think then we end up with 9 people talking in a meeting, right? Because even though the finance director can't vote and the engineer can't vote, they're still going to have things to say and input and help make decisions.
But the engineer and the finance director will be advisory. The rest of the board can vote. That's why I'm going with that.
okay.
I need to ask a question. I'm listening to all of this, but I have yet to figure out exactly how many people out of this 7 are a quorum.
Well, it's a quorum is just
4 would
any
be a quorum.
majority of that board.
No, we just have 5. It's 3 is the quorum because the 2 are not voting.
Right.
There's
They're
5
just
total
advisory.
votes with 3 for the quorum.
For this.
That's what I needed to hear.
That's correct, Bill.
I appreciated this explanation. I needed that.
That's
The
correct.
fire department.
Then what we'll do, let's do this. So let's do this the opposite way. Does anybody have any of other issues with what we've done? We put in working with the township manager. I believe he truly has to be he's an important cog in this machine and process. He has to be there. So that's number 1. The other one was the positions filled that Mark was talking about. That's the second issue we talked about. There's some other minor issues in there about we can have somebody keep minutes from there if we like. I mean, that's one of the abilities. And if you notice, some of the wording that was put in there is very minor. So why don't we look at this? Does anybody else have any other issues? Because we're going to come back to this, Mark, don't worry. But the officers of commission section, is there anything else? Is everybody good on this so far, except the total number of individuals? I'm sorry, that was the wrong section. That's the next section. It's really headed under membership.
Joe, can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
So a couple of our committees, the members actually get paid, right? So how do we decide which ones the people are paid for and which ones aren't?
That's a good question. I don't know what started that many years ago and why some today are paid and some are not. It's by ordinance. I do know that. I do know if you read the ordinance by ordinance, but I do not know who formed the ordinance many years ago and why that occurred and why. And no offense, I think even like the planning commission gets a stipend each meeting.
I think the policy shows, I think it's because they have, they can have an effect on the law, if you will. So I think if you read through the policy, which I haven't done in a while, but I did initially, it does state why both of those two commissions are paid.
Okay.
And it's because they have a higher threshold of responsibility
That might
with
make sense.
respect to the legal
I'll
decisions.
Mickey on that one. We don't know yet, but we can look.
Yeah, only because I think this is one where we're really gonna need, very well qualified people, and I think the amount of responsibility is going to be huge.
Well, the finance director is paid and the contracted individual is paid.
Referring to the engineer there.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the engineer is
and
paid, the
three
finance director
residents,
is paid.
The three township
Uh,
residents.
The township supervisor is paid.
So it's just a civil engineer.
And the
three-
township board member is paid. So the question is, no, there's three individuals from the township that will be picked.
Could
Be a total of four that could be,
I also say that we consider this a fairly important commission, right? Would it make sense then to have, and I'm sure I will hear about this later on perhaps, but maybe Brian should handle that role as secretary? You guys tell me. He's obviously very adept, very knowledgeable, and this is a particular commission that may require that extra level of expertise.
Would you want to combine the two statements from the left side of the board this evening and just make the second member of that commission the township clerk? I don't really want to commit Brian to more evening work if I don't have to.
I'm sure he doesn't
I
want
have
to
no
either,
problem
but I'm
having
just pointing it out.
Jameson be the clerk, and then you would also handle that job. you're
I
saying?
could be the secretary of that if the board is amenable
Yeah,
to
I have
it,
no
right?
problem with that.
So,
That I have no problem with. If
so
the
you would be the board member, Jameson?
if
One of
you
them.
guys went that direction, right? Because then you would have the clerk serving as the secretary of the bridge commission,
Yes.
which would
Gotcha.
give you more, I guess,
I have no
a
problem.
higher
with
level
that.
of fidelity with meeting minutes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that either.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't? Okay, I'm going to put clerk as second individual. We'll talk about that. We can talk about that further. So that'd be second board member because I'm the first, right?
Correct.
I mean, not the first meeting in any kind of.
You're the first board member.
Not
Number
the
one,
first
Joe.
in any kind of first or second. You know what I mean? Other than you. Okay, so I'm good with that. If anyone else have any issues on that one, now all we got to do is figure out about the total number. I guess what we can do is we can. We've talked about this tonight. We can go back to the drawing board. We can see. I'll send an email out. We'll see where we're at. And we're going to have to vote eventually on the commission and, I'm sorry, on the ordinance that creates the commission. And that will have, and if it's all palatable for all, and I think that we need to try to strive for consensus on everything we do. So,
And I think if anybody finds that the number of members isn't working for everyone, that can always be brought back as an ordinance amendment, correct?
oh, we can always amend that, but what I want to do, that's a very good point, but I have down, I want to ask Kristen about if we start with 3, can we put in the ordinance? Can we already put it in there? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
we will start with 3. We have the ability to go to 5 if the township board as a group feels it's needed.
Okay.
Is that fair to you guys?
Well, fair enough, but I think we should start with a higher number than come down if we have to. That's my opinion.
Well, you're kicking people off.
It's harder to fire
Yeah.
people.
Then you're kicking people off and saying, yeah, you know, I don't.
we can now, but we don't.
Yeah,
So, I
well,
mean, it's
we can now, but
it's
we
our
don't.
discretion.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
No, I would definitely rather start low and then move high, but I got to talk to Kristen about this, okay? So we'll move on from here. We've got everything down.
Just
Go ahead, Kevin.
so I'm clear that the people that are going to vote on this board are the supervisor, the other person from the board, and the three people from the public.
Correct, if we keep 3, correct. In other words, if we go to 5, then it would be the 2 and then the 5.
Okay.
Let me repeat that just so I've got my head screwed on straight.
What Kevin is saying is he wanted to know about the voting on this
That's what I'm
commission.
saying.
It's supervisor, let's just call him the clerk if we're going to do that. Supervisor and clerk have voting rights, okay? The 3 individuals from our citizens that we pick from the township have voting rights. If we have 3, if we have 4, then the 4 and the 2 have voting rights. If we have 5, then 5 and the 2 have the voting rights, a total of 7. So whatever we have with the citizens, those total have voting rights. Supervisor and clerk have voting rights. So that makes, we're going to start with 5, and then I got to talk to Kristen
Now,
to
those
see.
5 all would have voting rights? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. We all,
Okay.
and it's, yes, and 3 is the quorum. And then you have 2 that will be at the meeting.
Let's get
in
set up to
support
7.
In support roles, but no voting.
Okay.
I mean, we can put a name on them even, like Teresa or somebody from Rains, let's say, don't have voting rights, but they're in support roles. Let's just say who that is. We know Teresa's one of them. So,
I like that.
No, I think it's a bad idea. I'm going to put it on record. I think we should have 5 voting members and 2 advisory.
okay. All right, well, I will get
I'm
back
sorry,
with you. We're
7
not-
voting members and 2 advisory.
Yeah, this is
Say I agree with you, Mark.
I know. I had to restate that. I apologize.
Yeah, I almost said, we're not done, but we are now, apparently.
7 voting, 2 advisory.
Okay.
Is what I
No,
think
we're
we
not
should do.
done. I'll get back with you. We'll bring this back up, and so we'll go from there. And I have to make a phone call to Kristen, and we'll go from there. So is everybody set for right now? And I appreciate all your discussion, and we can move on now to the clerk's report, please.
I should only be 20, 30 minutes, so I'm just kidding. I don't have much. So the Recreation Commission will meet on April 3rd. Marissa and the Rec Commission delivered another 11 welcome baskets to new island residents recently, which I still think is super cool and I didn't know about until I got on Rec. So the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee will meet on the 17th of April. And congrats to Fire Chief Roscoe. So well earned, and we'll see you out there.
All right, you set, sir?
That's it.
Okay, Kevin.
The treasurer's report for, there we go. For the month of February, Grosse Township had a total of $17,879,209.53 invested in various accounts. These accounts generated a total of $44,401.13 in investment interest with an average interest rate of 2.95%. The February investment report can be viewed on the Treasurer's section of grosshill.com. Treasurer's Office, all 2024 unpaid real property taxes are now considered delinquent and must be paid directly to Wayne County with penalty fees. Wayne County online payment link, waynecounty.com/PTA has the current 2024 delinquent tax information. Payments can be made to Wayne County online at www.waynecounty.com/PTA, also by mail, in person, or at the Wayne County kiosk located in the Sunoco Brownstown, located at 21980 Sibley Road. Pet licenses for 2025 are still available. Please don't forget to register your pet. 2025 pet licenses are still available for $12 at the Treasurer's Office. Please be sure to bring current rabies vaccination certificates for your pet when purchasing your license. And I would also like to congratulate Fire Chief Roscoe and look forward to working with him going forward. And that is all for this evening.
Thank you, Kevin. For the trustees report, Mark?
Yeah, again, I would like to congratulate Fire Chief Roscoe as well. He knows why I made my decision. It is what it is. We do have an appeal tomorrow. If anybody's interested in showing up at 6 p.m. here in this room, we have one zoning appeal, and that would be it for us right now. I am all set with my report.
Margaret?
Nothing major to report today. We had a great study session. We got through a lot of things at the police commission. Our chief and our deputy chief are taking hold of the situation with respect to the officers we are going to have off coming this summer on FMLA and vacation time, and we're going to continue to address the situation moving forward. But I just want to say I'm very impressed with both of them for how they're handling this, and I hope that we don't take up a ton of their extra time, their off time, with this lack of 24th officer at this point. And again, to reiterate what everybody else has said, congratulations to Chief Roscoe. I think he's going to be an asset to that organization. So thank you.
Thank you. Mickey?
For Greenways Open Space, they'll be working with the schools, Kiwanis and Grosse Nature and Land Conservancy during Earth Week from April 22nd to the 27th. We want to welcome the new members of Robert Carson and Yolanda Brown. For another thing, we talked about when trash pickup for lawn waste would happen, and I just want to ask folks to consider waiting until it averages at least 50 degrees out, because that's when our pollinators and our overwintering insects have emerged. And that they also might want to check www.ginlc.org for tips on a healthy lawn with less water, which the good news is will also help on the water bills. So the next, did I say the next meeting for open space is April 1st? For fire, the next meeting is April 10th. And I just really want to congratulate both Bob Roscoe and John Camilleri. Appreciate all that John did, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Bob can do going forward.
You're all set? Thank you. Okay, William, you're up.
I have nothing to report on the two commissions that I sit on.
Okay.
They do wonderful work. I'm happy to be on those. They're wonderful people. In fact, just going one step further, when we went through this list of people who were on the commissions, this township is lucky to have the people we have in those posts. But I would also like to, with the others, commend Mr. Roscoe for his work. I would add that I hope that we put our case together on what our reasoning was with those unfortunate side issues, so that for future reference we can show that we applied good, logical, legal reasoning to it. And with that, my report's through.
All right, very good. Before we get to my report, Kevin, I think there's something that
I
say.
would like to also say thank you to you, Supervisor Porcerelli, and to the Finance Director, Teresa McLaughlin, for putting together a very well done, I think it's since I have lived on the island, it's probably the best budget I have seen going forward. It was very well done, a lot of time and energy put in it, particularly to the two Supervisor Porcerelli and Finance Director McLaughlin. Thank you for all that you have done to make that happen. I would also like to thank all the people that work for the township who took the time and energy to do their part putting together the budget. I think that it's come out, it looks, it was very well done. Thank you. The other thing is the, well, I think that covers it, so thank you.
Good?
Yep.
All right,
Thank you.
very good, sir. Okay, the township manager has been excused tonight, and I have a few things on my report. Want to let you know that the county still has no start date. What I did find out is they have not picked their contractor yet. Now, for some individuals that I've been working with, they've been starting construction projects on Grosse, and this actually has helped them a little bit. So I know this is frustrating to all of us. We're all planning, especially because we are going to take ownership of the toll bridge on the 31st of this month, and we'd like to get things going. And but that's okay. If we wait a little bit, it actually benefits more people. Unfortunately, it doesn't benefit the school in their construction project. So we're trying to have such good communication with the county, but they still have not even given us approximate date yet. So as soon as I get it, you're going to know about it. The next big thing, though, I want you to know about is the bridge passes. I want to explain this. The bridge passes, everyone that uses a pass gives the toll bridge the right to use their credit card, or if you drop off a check to them, or however you fill your account to use on that tag. We are working on a system that the company was supposed to have gotten it to us already. We've been calling them every day now. It was supposed to have gotten to us last week. And what will happen is we will have on grosseal.com, there'll be a link. On that link, all you have to do, and we've already run test runs on it with mine. It only take a minute or two. You'll put your name in there. You'll put the credit card and the individuals that want to load their tag by check, and some, I didn't really realize this, they give it right to the toll booth person, and then they just enter it. So you'll be able to do that. Now, with that said, I want you to understand something. It is not here yet. We close on the 31st. If, for some reason, this should have been to us, I'm not blaming the company, but this should have been to us weeks ago, according to them. Now, if we take possession of that bridge on the 31st, and we do not have all those tags moved over to give Grosse Township the ability to use your credit card or to take money, we have an alternate plan. You are not, I'm promising you this, you're not going to be sitting in the line trying to figure out how to pay for it because your tag doesn't work.
I mean, can't you still just pay at the?
Well, yes, but I will apprise, we worked on this today. Derek is down in Florida. This plan will come to fruition if the PSX company does not get us this plan by the time, or this link to put on our site by the time we take ownership of the bridge. We have a second plan that cars will move even quicker, I promise you on that one, than what is moving right now. And it won't be a hit to the township or that big a hit. Your priority, getting you to work and back, getting people off the island back, getting an ambulance to the hospital is much more of a priority to us right now than saying we're just going to have everybody back up on the bridge and pay by hand or however way you can come up with. That's not going to happen. Okay, you will be able to cross that bridge freely and without a big jam because of the tags. Now, I'm not going to say there isn't going to be a little bit of a jam if the bridge, when the county bridge closes. There's going to be a little bit of problem. We're going to have patience. But my point to you is these bridge passes and how we're going to make them compatible, that it's to Grosse Township as opposed to Grosse Toll Bridge, obviously in removing credit card, money from your credit card or whatever you put on there. So that has come up. Derek and I, he's on vacation. He deserves a vacation. But Derek was working with me today from Florida, and we have this figured out. And I'm telling you right now, and I know I say up here all the time, I promise, but I'm going to promise you this, that we're not going to have you, if we don't have it done and PSX isn't done with it, well, we're going to get it done, I promise you that. But we're going to have you go through the toll bridge without a mass confusion and problem. Because we provide a service at Grosse Township. We don't provide a product. We're not like Ford Motor Company. They provide a product. We provide a service to you, and we're going to provide that service. So I know people are starting to ask questions, and I'm not going to say panicking. This bothers me. This is making me lose sleep at night. Well, we came up with a plan that's going to work. I don't want to get into it right now. It's a very simple plan. I'm going to put it out to all the board members. We're going to talk about it, and it's our only, that I feel, will be what's right for the citizens. So with that said, if we hear from PSX tomorrow morning, they send us the link, they tell us it's done, it will go on the website, and I will put out Facebook post. I will put out also a code red. I know some people say code red's only for emergencies. This is an emergency for the people. As far as I'm concerned, I look at this as an emergency when it affects everyone that drives a vehicle onto Grosse from that bridge or off of Grosse from that bridge. That's an emergency to me. So we're going to use code red. We're going to use every platform we can. We're going to ask you, once it gets out there, to talk to your friends, your family. There may be elderly people that don't have Facebook, or, I was never on Facebook before I became into the township. It's just the way I am. So we are going to ask everyone to spread this around as soon as we get it. And I will do that, as I stated, as soon as the PSX company gives us that link and it goes up on our site. So I know I kind of beat that, but I wanted to make sure people understood this. And if there's any other questions, you can call me. And I've been getting calls and I've been getting emails, and that's okay. That's what I signed up for. So last thing I have for tonight, and I put this out to the board. I just want all of you to know this, that we had a question on our surplus property that we have on Macomb Street. One of the pieces of property, I'm not sure if I put it out with a map to the board, but I explained to the board, we have a parking lot down behind the East End Cafe. And in that parking lot, there's, I didn't count them, I think it's 14 spaces. Hard to explain this, but part of that's all township-owned property. It's a small piece. The East End Cafe wanted to buy it, and so did the woman that owns the property behind the cafe wanted it, because she wanted to add a little bit of property to her property. So what I came up with, and I think this is going to work, and I'm going to bring this back to the board for your vote, because we have to have the border, we have to have it reconfigured and somewhat split. I know, what does somewhat mean? So we have to figure out if it goes to the board or we're going to do it administratively. I came up with something I thought was fair to both, and both people are very happy with it. We're going to reconfigure that lot that Grosse Township owns, and we are going to give the parking lot a separate parcel, and then Miss Hennessy, who lives behind, will take the rest of the property up to that parking lot, which she needs, and she's going to do some work in a outbuilding that they're building there and needs that property. So this is going to be a win-win for Macomb Street. It's going to be a win-win for Grosse Township. It's off our books, and now we're getting tax revenue. Very small, but we're still getting tax revenue. And both people that have to do with this piece of property by adjoining it are very happy that both of them can get what they want, and they don't have to have a bidding war. Now, the DDA, of course, they didn't want us selling it. We had to do some research. We own the lot, not the DDA, and they didn't want us selling it because they wanted to take care of the business. I'm happy to try and take care of the business owners. If I can help this young lady that owns the business there at East End Cafe, I think that's what we're here for. And if I can help the homeowner that needs some property to do her whatever it is, forget what she has going. And I mean, it's all proper and legal, you know what I'm saying? So all she needs is a little more lot there. And both can win on this. I think we all win. So I'm going to get it to you, but that's what I've been working. I know some of you have been asking me about this, and there's just so many moving parts. And I've been meeting with engineers, Ross, Derek, to try and get this figured out. And the two possible new owners, if you will, to the property. And there's so many moving parts and so many different dynamics. I finally got a map drawn of what is palatable for both. I will get it to you, and it may come to the board. The reason I'm saying this now is it may come to the board, but there was also some talk where you know, the DDA wanted to make sure this happened, the township wanted to make sure this happened, those people wanted to make sure this happened, and now, I'm gonna tell you the truth, if we swing this, everybody's gonna be happy. And this is exactly, I think, the right thing to do, so. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's it for me tonight. We do have public comment, sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead if you wanna come up. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Public of one.
He used his time last time.
All right, Greg Karmazin, 21228 Easter Road. Following up on your comments there, Supervisor Porcelli, it sounds like a good proposal that you have there. I've looked into that issue a little bit, and I'm glad that you emphasize the fact that that property is owned by Grosse Township, not the Downtown Development Authority.
Correct.
And as a result, it is appropriate that the township sell that property and that the funds go to the general fund. And if there's, certainly a benefit that goes to the business district by virtue of getting it into use by the business there, that's great. I mean, sounds like a win-win solution. I applaud you for your work on that. I also want to make general comments about the board discussion tonight. One of the things that I know all of you ran for in the previous election, in part on a pledge to do better in terms of transparency and accountability and thoughtful discussion, and I think that's what happened here tonight. I mean, we have some legitimate points that have been raised by all the members of the board that spoke out on the issue of the policies and procedures and the fire chief position. I find myself, having looked at this issue over a period of years. Previously, some of the same issues did come up with the fire. Or rather, the police chief issue that was before the board several years ago. I think it is a good time, though, to maybe take a look at those policies and procedures and tighten them. Trustee Bartlett suggested that you look at the language, and I applaud her for doing that. I think that's a good idea. I do agree that with Supervisor Porcelli that absolutely right that over the course of, say, the last 50 years or so, inside candidates have been the preference for police chief and fire chief, and that has worked well for the township, and I don't think anybody disagrees with that. On the other hand, I do find myself agreeing with Trustee Mills that if we have a duty to the public to disclose that there are openings for management level jobs, there's no harm, I think, to disclosing that fully and presenting it to the public, and still giving a preference perhaps to the inside candidate. But the fact is, then everybody in the community knows that the opening is there, and that there are candidates that are being considered. I'm not going to recommend how you revise the language or what consideration you should give the inside and outside candidates, but I do say that one of the things about policies and procedures that's important, and I think this was brought up, perhaps I think it was Treasurer Flavin that mentioned this. What you're doing today does set a precedent for the future, and I myself, having served in government in a prior career, very mindful that precedents are important, and even though a subsequent board could change policies and procedures, I do think there is merit to having a real well crafted policy and procedure and then sticking by it, and it does then set in place a precedent for the future, and we don't know how that might work in the future. It may need to be changed again, but nonetheless, it is important to have precedents, and I think that was a valid point.
Excuse me.
So again, I thought it was a good discussion tonight, and I'm not at all troubled by the fact that you don't have unanimous votes here. I mean, I think in the past, one of the things that past boards were criticized for were rubber stamping. You know, that there wasn't a thoughtful discussion and give and take, and we saw some good dialogue tonight and discussion. And final comment is that I do believe that our finance director put together a fine budget, and I again commend her and all the managers on the work they've done. And I think once you get that ClearGov program in place, and you know, I do support Trustee or Treasurer Flavin in the idea of, you know, having multi-year financial plans and a little more of a process for putting that out in public view, and so we can have long-term financial planning. It's a little more in detail and transparent. I think that's a good thing. So good work tonight.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, certainly.
May I respond to
Sure.
Mr. Carmazon?
Absolutely.
Thank you for the comments, Greg. I do want to say out loud, because it may have sounded differently, I did see the Fire Commission work diligently to review the candidates. They spent a lot of time and effort. I did see that. I appreciate that. I think they did a very fine job vetting the candidates, and I would like to thank them for that. And going forward, I look forward to seeing that process on video. And but they did a great job. I think they picked a great candidate, and that needs to be said out loud too. So thank them.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, well, to follow up with that, I'm sorry, but I got to follow up with that. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Mr. Supervisor. I got to follow. So when I made the comment earlier that they failed with the procedure, right?
Right.
Not with the vetting of the three candidates they had. And when I said the board failed, they failed with the procedure, the policy and procedure.
Right.
What specific procedure?
It says it right in 3.6, as it's right in the very first sentence, what it's supposed to do.
Shall be posted.
Shall be
Was it
posted.
posted?
Yes.
But and then you look at point 2,
says
where
must be
where it's
posted.
supposed to be posted.
Yeah, in the local newspaper, the township website,
And,
trade journals if available, and
right, and that wasn't
prudent.
done. That wasn't done. So that's why I'm talking about where we failed. That is what I'm talking about. Not that they did a bad job in
I know that. I
vetting the
get
three
we.
candidates they had.
Okay, we went over that, and thank you for bringing that back up. I get it. We have our opinions on this. I don't want to go any further.
Let me ask one thing though, because we're bringing him back for the next meeting. The vote is done, and I only hope that when we have the swearing in ceremony, that could be a celebration,
Oh yeah, it's over. As we go home
right?
tonight, this is
'Cause
done.
I saw the looks in their faces, and I just want to celebrate next
I
time.
agree with you.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing, you know, and I apologize, is one thing I wanted to say, because I have the board right here, is not only thank you to Teresa, but before we got into the budgets, we stated the board was in favor of getting a forensic audit done, and there was no way I was going to let Teresa work with a group of individuals and take her away from what we needed. We could not have Teresa work on both. She's not an 80-hour-a-week employee. I mean, the number of hours she spends here is enough. Over 40 hours. I appreciate everything, and I wouldn't do that to you. So what we're going to do is Derek and I are going to work on the RFP in April, and we will talk to the board. We're going to put out an email and see what you guys want to see in number of years in the RFP for a forensic audit, and it will go out, and we'll start that ball rolling now. So thank you very much for understanding. We did say we were going to do it when we came in, but our budget and what Teresa had to deal with the Grosse toll bridge, just that in itself was a separate job. And I appreciate all that work. And you know what, Kevin, thank you, those kind words for thanking myself and Teresa. But Teresa is the brains of the operation, and she tells me which way it is. You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you very much.
Well,
thank you.
you're in charge by statute.
But I have
So-
to be there. I have to be there. I
Right.
got to do certain things.
Right.
You're correct. But she definitely, without her, obviously, I crumble. So, all right, that's it for tonight. I think we're done here. I need a motion to adjourn. Second, Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
You want to keep it open? All right. Well, that didn't work. You didn't get enough votes. So thank you very much. That is the end of the meeting. Thank you for